Money is the ultimate blood of global power. It never sleeps. It flows to where empires are built. And it ruthlessly deserts those who fall. Welcome to the brutal battlefield of foreign direct investment. For the next 10 minutes, you will witness the greatest wealth migration in human history. Look at the starting line. The year 2000. The United States stands as the undisputed king of capital, sucking in nearly $349 billion in a single year. The American dot-com boom is at its absolute peak. Wall Street is printing fortunes out of thin air. Washington opens a staggering $101 billion gap against Germany. Look closer at Europe. Germany and the United Kingdom are fighting a ferocious battle. They are desperate for the global silver medal. Millions of corporate dollars are moving across the Atlantic. Then, the clock ticks to 2001. The dot-com bubble bursts into flames. The American tech dream shatters overnight. Look at the bars on the chart. The US capital inflow collapses by half, dropping down to just $172 billion. The gap with Belgium shrinks dangerously. The American throne is shaking. By 2002, the bleeding continues for Washington. US numbers drop further to $111 billion. But look at the bottom of the chart. A silent dragon is waking up. China officially breaks into the global top 3. Beijing has just joined the World Trade Organization. They opened their gates to global factories. Low wages. Massive infrastructure. Unstoppable ambition. Through 2003 and 2004, the US attempts a painful recovery. Wall Street pumps out cheap credit to reclaim its dominance. American inflows crawl back to $213 billion. But Europe is planning a massive corporate coup. Watch the year 2005. The United Kingdom pulls off a historic heist. London weaponizes its financial district, snatching the global crown with $252 billion. Leaving the United States bleeding in third place. But the British triumph is short-lived. Because an invisible financial monster is about to explode. The Netherlands. In 2006, the Dutch magnate shocks the world, pulling in $375 billion through corporate optimization. And then, the year 2007 arrives. An absolute madness on the chart. The Netherlands obliterates every global record in history, absorbing an astronomical $733 billion in net inflows. It opens a historic, mind-blowing gap of $387 billion against the United States. The Dutch tax routing system becomes the ultimate sanctuary. Every multinational giant pours money into Amsterdam shell companies. This is not just investment. This is the calm before the catastrophic financial storm. The illusion shattered in 2008. The Lehman Brothers collapse triggers a devastating economic earthquake. Corporate cash evaporates globally overnight. The Dutch Empire collapses from $733 billion back to $195 billion. Capital panics and flees back to the American safe haven. The US reclaims the #1 spot with $341 billion. But look at the changing tide in 2009. The Western world is completely paralyzed by toxic debt. The Netherlands takes a temporary lead. But a massive structural shift is happening beneath the surface. China is no longer just a simple participant. By 2010, the Chinese dragon hits a massive $243 billion. Breathing heavily down the neck of the United States. Only $20 billion separate Beijing from global dominance. The race becomes a breathless, agonizing knife fight. Through 2011 and 2012, the Netherlands utilizes complex corporate maneuvers. They hold the top spot with $356 billion and $261 billion. But the underlying reality is clear to the elites. Western industrial dominance is fading away. The East is preparing for a historic coup. The geopolitical tension reaches a boiling point in 2013. The Netherlands still holds the nominal lead with 324 billion. But the tectonic plates of the global economy are shifting rapidly. China is closing in with 290 billion. The ultimate explosion finally happens in 2014. Global economic history is rewritten. China officially dethrones the United States of America, becoming the world's premier destination for global capital, pumping in a massive $268 billion. Beijing wins the crown. The global manufacturing king has now secured the financial crown. Washington reacts with absolute, unspoken fury. The American empire initiates a brutal economic counteroffensive. They realize they must bring the factories back home. Watch the jaw-dropping leap in the year 2015. The United States engineers a spectacular repatriation of capital, exploding past the $500 billion mark to hit $511 billion. A massive, terrifying wall of money returns home to America, widening a massive $135 billion gap over the Dutch. The U.S. holds this iron line through 2016 and 2017. In 2016, Washington secures $474 billion. In 2017, they maintain $380 billion. An absolute stranglehold on global wealth. But a dark cloud is gathering on the geopolitical horizon. The tariff wars are about to begin. In 2018, the trade war erupts with full violence across the Pacific. Tariffs rain down on industrial goods. Supply chains break apart into pieces. But money always finds its way through the cracks. China strikes back with a vengeance, seizing the #1 position again with $235 billion. Squeezing the United States into the second-place spot. The year 2019 sees America reclaiming the top position at $315 billion. They used massive corporate tax incentives to drag money back. But then, the year 2020 hits the world like an asteroid. A catastrophic global pandemic shuts down planet Earth. Borders close completely. Global growth drops down to zero. Yet, look at the terrifying resilience of the East. While Western economies are locked down in chaos, China dominates, taking the 2020 crown with $253 billion. Crushing a heavily declining Germany. But the American empire refuses to die or surrender. Washington unleashes the most massive corporate subsidy campaign in human history. The CHIPS Act. The Inflation Reduction Act. They create a strategic financial vacuum cleaner, sucking global tech wealth directly back to American soil. From 2021 all the way to 2024, the United States maintains an absolute dominance. Look at the staggering, brutal gap in the year 2022. A massive $226 billion distance between the US and China. The Chinese dragon's inflow is cut completely in half, down to $190 billion. De-risking and decoupling reshape the globe. But as the two economic giants tear each other apart, look at the sudden, spectacular rise of the Asian tigers. Singapore pulls off an incredible macroeconomic miracle. By 2023 and 2024, this tiny island nation secures the global silver medal, attracting $125 billion, then an amazing $135 billion. Beating out traditional Western giants. Standing right alongside Hong Kong at the top. Southeast Asia has become the new ultimate tech and financial sanctuary. 25 years of fierce capital warfare have rewritten the map of power. The United States remains on the throne. But the tectonic foundation has permanently shifted to Asia. The battle for physical factories is reaching its absolute limit. But behind the heavy curtains, an invisible network is moving. Digital assets, shadow liquidity, and sovereign wealth are shifting positions. What is the next hidden engine that will control the wealth of our world? The next race has already begun.